Hey everyone, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please be sure to leave a 5-star rating and follow. Okay, folks, we have to start with the price of Bitcoin because we're seeing some upward movement from Bitcoin and altcoins. Now, it's nothing to call home about. We don't want to get too excited, but we're looking for positive signals that are going to show us the path forward, whether that be a relief rally or we have further downside. Now, today, Bitcoin went up to over $69,000. But what's important is that on the chart, the RSI is moving away from the oversold zone and it has room to run. And the MACD has flipped green. So the bulls are in control. That's a very good sign. On the weekly, we're seeing a bit of a green candle form here. The MACD shows that the bears are losing momentum. The dark red candle has turned into a light red. So if you know the indicators on the MACD, you can see that bears are losing momentum here. And then the RSI in the weekly, which is in the oversold zone, is starting to make a curvature to go upwards. So again, nothing to call home about, nothing to get too excited about, but what we are waiting for is that relief rally, not to new all-time highs, but potentially to about 80 to 85K. Maybe it overshoots and goes to 90K. Some people are saying we can go to 105K, then roll over. Now, if we look at the altcoins on CoinMarketCap, we're seeing some green here. So for example, some of the leaders include Cardano, which is up over 10% over the past 24 hours. In fact, a Polkadot is kind of leading the charge here. It is up near 30% over the past 24 hours. And even Uniswap is up about 13%. So we're seeing some life here. Again, we don't want to get too excited because markets can fake us out, right, guys? So I like to keep it balanced. I like to be logical about these things, not emotional. So this is a good sign. It's a good start, but we need more confirmation. Bitcoin has to break through 70K, 72K, build the support levels, and then continue to run, and altcoins will follow. Of course, that's going to be a process and play out over time. But, maybe March will be a green month for us after February has been bloody, right, to say the least. But it's what we've been talking about. The conditions for a relief rally is there because we've been in oversold conditions, extreme oversold, and in extreme fear. So anytime you have that set up, you're going to see the market reverse. Now, does it happen overnight? Of course not. It starts to play out over days and weeks and sometimes months. So patience is a key, and it's why I continue to reiterate that we need to have the macro outlook. Now, there's a lot of controversy around the market and some manipulation. So I'm sure many of you have heard that Terraform, they are suing Jane Street, which is the firm Sam Bankman-Fried and Caroline Ellison, of FTX, they were a part of, right? SBF is a big time alumni from Jane Street. Well, the lawsuit is claiming that Jane Street was responsible for the collapse of Terra Luna, and they did some manipulation and insider trading. But not only that, guys, since this lawsuit came out, a lot of folks have been reporting that Jane Street, they've been running an algorithm that dumped Bitcoin every single morning at 10 a.m. They've been doing this for months, crashing the price, liquidating retail, buying back lower, rinse and repeat. So we've been seeing a lot of chop, and they're essentially saying Jane Street is part of it. Now, I don't think Jane Street is the only one, but what's interesting, as soon as this lawsuit came out and these reports of the manipulation, Jane Street on their X account deleted all their tweets. So I think there's some smoke here, and where there's smoke, there's fire. I do believe they've been manipulating the markets, but we're going to have to wait for discovery in the lawsuit and see if the SEC is going to go after them. I don't know. But as soon as that lawsuit was filed, all of a sudden Bitcoin started moving. So look, narrative tends to follow price. So I'm not saying this is the silver bullet, but it may be. And we're going to have to wait and see how this all plays out. But I think it's no secret that Wall Street is certainly looking to manipulate crypto, just like they've done with precious metals and other assets, right? We've seen how JP Morgan, they've been fined for manipulating silver for many years. And there's many other examples. In fact, Dave Weisberger, who I recently interviewed and had on the podcast, he's very smart. He understands TradFi and crypto. He did a full write-up on X talking about these allegations and the market manipulation and how how this has all been played out. So like I said, guys, where there's smoke, there's fire. So there's something here, but it's great that it's coming out and it's getting exposed. And it looks like Jane Street is taking their foot off the pedal here with their manipulation, but that's not going to stop necessarily another Wall Street firm from manipulating the market. So this is where you got to have patience. Manipulation happens in the stock market, right? In crypto. So these are things that happen. And this is a double-edged sword of Wall Street, where you get a lot of capital, you get big institutions coming in, but then many of them try to manipulate the market, right? And they know how to manipulate retail. But this is where we don't, guys, invest with our emotions or our feelings, and we make sure we look at the facts and have patience, right? This is the part where a lot of retail folks who are not financially educated, they don't have that patience and they go through the emotional roller coaster. We don't want to do that, of course. We want to have the macro view. Okay, moving ahead, Ethereum unveils Strawmap roadmap, adding private ETH transactions, quantum proof security, and massive L2 scaling. So notice how, with the price starting to move, the narrative automatically flips here. Remember, they've been saying, oh, AI, quantum, this is why crypto is crashing. But that's just a narrative, right, guys? I believe that crypto is not going to have to worry about anything when it comes to quantum, because the nodes, the validators, the miners will all update their technologies with quantum ready or quantum proof systems, right? Just as the miners, for example, Bitcoin miners have continued to upgrade the mining equipment. So I don't think this is a issue right now, but it's a narrative that's thrown out there as short sellers are trying to push the price down. The price is going down. So again, narrative follows price. So this is really great for ETH. I think the private transactions part is going to be massive because institutions want that privacy when it comes to certain transactions. So very bullish for ETH. Now, check this out. The OCC issued a proposed rulemaking to implement the Genius Act, seeking public comments on stablecoin regulations. So the Genius Act has passed. Now it's time to implement it. And we're seeing all the agencies starting to do so. And the OCC is a big one because they obviously work with the banks. They issue the bank charters, approvals, and things like that. So they definitely need to get involved, and it's great that they're opening up for public comments. So all the dominoes are falling here, guys, and we're waiting, of course, for the Clarity Act to pass. And in fact, there was a meeting about the Clarity Act today where Mark Andreessen and Chris Dixon of A16Z spoke at a lunch with Republican senators today, emphasizing the need to pass the crypto market structure legislation and secure U.S. leadership in crypto and AI. Now, if A16Z is going out there talking to people, Mark Andreessen, Mark is a powerhouse, man. The guy, goes back to the days of Web 1, building Netscape and much more. And we're going to get it done. It's going to get done. They just got to figure out the situation with the banks and finding that compromise. Look, the banks are lobbying hard. So look, the dialogue's happening. The discussions are happening on both sides of the aisle, the Democrats, the Republicans. So we could see potentially this bill pass by the end of April. And that could dovetail with a really strong relief rally for crypto, and maybe with the 1% chance that we go to new all-time highs. And notice I'm giving it a 1% chance, right? I would say 99% it is a relief rally scenario. Well, I shouldn't ultimately rule out downside, right? That this thing continues to dump. But the oversold and extreme fear conditions are telling me no, because, by market principles, we know the markets respect those things, and it's the cyclical nature of markets. But look, there's also that maybe we give it a 10% downside, right? That we continue to go down, and it's an 89% chance of a relief rally. Now, this episode is brought to you by VeChain. VeChain is one of the top layer 1 blockchains out there, folks. They're getting adoption from many brands and companies across the globe who are building incredible applications. So VeChain is partnering with the UFC and Dana White. Dana White last year bought $1 million in the VET token. I'm sure many of you saw that video where he announced it. So they're working with companies such as Boston Consulting Group, Walmart China, BMW, and many others who are building incredible Web3 technologies. Now, I'm a VET token token holder. I have been since 2018. I'm bullish on this project. And folks, you can also stake the VET token and earn rewards via the Stargate wallet. So you stake the VET token, you get an NFT, you earn the VTHO reward. So this is really great. And like I said, I'm bullish. I own the token. So if you'd like to learn more about VeChain, go to vchain.org. Link will be in the description. Now, some big updates from Tether. Tether invests $200 million in digital marketplace Whop, WHOP, to expand stablecoin payments. So Tether, look, man, they have made some incredible moves. You know, the fact that they launched a tokenized gold product, they've been adding gold to their balance sheet and much more, has worked out very well for them. And they're one of the most profitable companies in the world. And they're still king of the hill when it comes to the stablecoin market. So Whop will integrate Tether's crypto wallet tools so users and creators can hold, transact, and settle in stablecoins like USDT without banks or card networks. The funding will support Whop's global expansion across Latin America, Europe, and Asia Pacific, further embedding Tether's stablecoin in everyday online commerce. This is a very smart move on Tether's part. I'm trying to get Bo Hines on the pod to talk about their USA specific stablecoin, USAT, which is Genius Act compliant. So stay tuned. I'm trying to get that interview for you guys. But Tether's making some huge moves here. Okay, moving ahead. Revolut among 4 companies chosen to test stablecoins in UK sandbox. So the United Kingdom Financial Conduct Authority selected 4 companies to join a dedicated stablecoin cohort within its long-running regulatory sandbox. In a Wednesday press release, the FCA said it will choose Monet Financial Technologies, Restabilize, Revolut, and VVTX from a pool of 20 applicants to test how their stablecoin services perform under the UK's proposed rules in a safe environment. Folks, look at what's happening. Across the globe, you're seeing activity like this. Sandboxes, pilots, rules being put into place, regulation, of course, the guardrails being set up for mass adoption. So we're still early, relative to other technologies and asset classes. Bitcoin itself is just 17 years old. It's still a teenager, right? And then these technologies and the rules are still being ironed out. Guys, we haven't gotten market structure here in the United States, so that's how early we are. So the UK regulator said that its testing would focus primarily on stablecoin issuance and that the 4 companies would pilot a range of use cases, including payments, wholesale settlement, and crypto trading, with findings intended to inform the UK's final stablecoin rules. Very bullish. Moving ahead, Ripple, Franklin Templeton joined $5 million seed round for AI agent trust startup T54 Labs. So we've talked a lot about the convergence of AI and blockchain. They obviously benefit each other, right? Blockchain will be used to police AI, and AI agents and humanoid robots that are powered by AI technologies will use crypto wallets. They will use stablecoins and blockchain tech, right? Many of you may recall I interviewed the CEO of OpenMind, which is building kind of like Android software for humanoid robots. And one of the major takeaways is that in that humanoid robot, there is a crypto wallet. And the robot's rules and regulations or constitution is downloaded from an Ethereum smart contract every day that robot's booted up. That's the future, folks, right? So blockchain will help us to monitor and control all these things, because imagine a world with AI deepfake content and robots running around. And then people trying to hack robots. Well, if you don't have them on some sort of blockchain network, good luck, right? We're going to see a whole lot of problems, but that's where the convergence of these technologies will work out very well. And there's a lot of folks looking to establish, I think yesterday we talked about MoonPay. They launched crypto wallets for AI agents. So T54 Labs, a San Francisco-based startup building what it describes as a trust layer for agentic finance, has raised $5 million in a seed funding round. The round was led by Anagram and PL Capital and Franklin Templeton, with participation from Ripple, Virtual Ventures, Blockchain Coinvestors, and ABCDE. Wow, that's an interesting name for a fund. T54 said on Wednesday, this marks the startup's first funding round founder Chandler Fang told The Block. So, founded in January 2025, T54 is building identity verification and compliance tools for AI agents that can transact independently on behalf of people and businesses. So, this is the direction the puck is heading in, folks. So, you want to make sure you take your bets accordingly, whether that's be in the stocks of some of these companies, but also the tokens of the blockchains being leveraged. Now, some big news from Kraken. So, Kraken Exchange introduces fixed rate crypto loans for its pro users. So, they're certainly trying to compete with Coinbase, which has been doing that, where you can borrow against your crypto. So, crypto exchange Kraken has launched Flexline, a crypto backed loan product that allows Kraken Pro users to borrow against their digital asset holdings without selling them. So, according to Wednesday's announcement, the fixed rate loans carry terms ranging from 2 days to 2 years, with proceeds issued in crypto or stablecoins that can be traded on the platform or withdrawn depending on the regional eligibility. So the company describes its product as geared towards beginners and individual investors, while Kraken Pro is for advanced and institutional traders. So, guys, I love this. More competition is very healthy for the consumers, and I can't wait for the banks, the major banks, to offer loans against your crypto. We know some of them are using it as collateral, but it's not a fully commercialized product as yet. But I think it will get there as we get the things like the Clarity Act passed and much more. And you'll be able to, put some of your crypto assets to work, guys. And you won't necessarily have to sell if you're a long-term holder, right? You can borrow against it and do different things. So this is great. Now, I have to tell you guys about Elizabeth Warren and some of the nonsense she's been doing, because today she went out with a big time lie on X. So I've been reporting to you guys that Sam Bankman-Fried has someone tweeting on behalf of him, kissing Trump's ass, saying Trump is doing this, he's amazing, he's great, because he wants a pardon, right? And then yesterday I reported to you guys that the White House came out and said President Trump is not going to pardon SBF. This guy is a scammer, of course. He needs to stay in jail. He should not get a pardon. Well, he's been tweeting about things like the Clarity Act, and Elizabeth Warren disingenuously retweeted that, and here's what she said. Sam Bankman-Fried, the fraudster who stole at least $8 billion from customers using his crypto exchange, just endorsed the Clarity Act. That should set off alarm bells. Any crypto market structure bill must protect investors, our financial system, and American taxpayers. Now, Sam's tweet wasn't even giving any details. He was just saying it's a good thing. But we know, again, it's all just ass kissing, right? Because he wants the pardon. But Elizabeth Warren has the gall to do this. When she is big time friends with his parents, she took millions, along with Maxine Waters and the other Democrats, millions of dollars from SBF. And don't get me wrong, he donated to Republicans too, right? That's on record. But he gave a lot to the Democrats because they were in power. And remember, he was going to the SEC, walking the halls of Washington, D.C., Capitol Hill, and no one was doing anything about him. No one was checking up on him. And Elizabeth Warren is such a liar. She has the gall to do this, man. Such hypocrisy. Like, you weren't taking his money and you're not best friends with his parents. And, Maxine Waters wasn't blowing kisses to him and all that. Come on. But, she's trying to rewrite history. She's trying to get some sort of angle here on the Clarity Act, where, she wants to put her draconian stuff. But her marching orders come from the banks. We know that. She's shown her cards. When her and Jamie Dimon had that hearing and they teamed up against crypto, she showed her card. So we know what her MO is. But man, look at this. It's almost like she thinks we don't know what the hell happened with her and Gensler. And guys, I tweeted out about this. I believe she probably told Gensler to leave FTX alone. But we know how that ended, right? Because remember, Gary was handing out Wells notices and lawsuits to Coinbase and other companies, right? But he was leaving FTX alone, and the SEC was meeting with the FTX team and Sam many times. So, and they were, if you guys recall, they were also trying to give FTX a special broker dealer license, and Coinbase and other firms got a hint of that, and they started fighting back. So crazy stuff that Elizabeth Warren would do this. She has no shame, man. This is why I politics is such a nasty game. I hate it. I don't worship any politicians or politics. And I encourage you guys, don't do that. Trust me, I've been on Capitol Hill. I went to lobby alongside some folks for crypto, and it's all about money, man. And that really sucks. And yes, you have some people who are true believers and I think have good character, but The system is just corrupt, man. This is why you don't fall for everything a politician says. You want to keep them accountable. Doesn't matter who it is, right? But anyway, folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't as yet. Folks, be sure to support the podcast by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It is 100% free. It doesn't cost you anything. And don't worry, I don't spam. I don't send an email newsletter every day. I will be doing a write-up this Friday, especially as the market continues to rally. I'll give you updated charts and much more. Again, it's all free. So make sure you sign up, guys. That supports the podcast. Be sure to grab a copy of my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. And if you want to expand your knowledge about crypto, then check out my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you everything you need to know about crypto. Knowledge is power. Check it out at mycryptocourse.com. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.